All right. Hi, everyone, and thank you for being here today. My name is Alyssa Conrady, and I'm going to be giving our welcome session presentation today. I encourage everyone to utilize the chat function throughout the presentation. We are going to start off with a little bit of an overview, and we'll transition into our Q&A later on. But if you have a question throughout, don't hesitate to put it in the chat, and we will get to it as we're able. So again, thank you and welcome to UWM and to your welcome presentation. Again, my name is Alyssa Conrady and I'm the Community Relations Manager here at UWM. I oversee the Panther Family Program, as well as the Neighborhood Housing Office, Neighborhood Relations, Campus Voting, and some other external relations initiatives. So I'm so excited to be here with you today. I've got a few of my colleagues on the call as well that you'll get to meet later throughout the presentation, but they'll all go ahead and introduce themselves in the chat now as well. And a little bit about me. So I've been a part of the UWM community for nearly 10 years now, between my time of being a student and a professional staff member. And I'm so thrilled that you've all joined us today to start off your orientation experience with our welcome session. There we go. Okay, so we've got about an hour slotted for today's session, and we're going to cover a few different topics. First, I'm going to give a little bit of an overview about UWM and some things that I think are really great to know. I'll explain a little bit about the Panther Family Association and all the great benefits that you get from being a member of the Panther family at UWM. We will have an overview from our new student programs manager, Mike Dixon, on tomorrow's sessions, as well as what your student will experience at their orientation. And then lastly, we're going to conclude with some tips for supporting your student in their transition to UWM from our mother-daughter team, Natalie and Jerry. So our great university continues to have a national impact. UWM's R1 designation is one of the top research universities in the country, sets it apart and provides great opportunities for your student. Undergraduate research is a big part of many students' lives at UWM. Plus, our graduate school continues to do great research with award-winning faculty, and our Lubar Entrepreneurship Center, which recently opened in 2019, provides some great opportunities for your student to explore their next great dream. We are also so proud to have received some national attention recently when Vice President Kamala Harris visited our campus labs earlier this year, focusing on renewable energy research. And so that's really been a highlight for us in this past year. And great things are truly happening at UWM. So we're so excited to see your student become a part of the progress that we're making. I'm just going to go ahead and stop my video for some connection issues, but I'll still be here talking with you all today. So across southeastern Wisconsin, the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee name is well known, whether it's our name on the side of the building that's now the UW-Milwaukee Panther Arena, or our campuses in Waukesha and Washington County, our innovation campus in Wauwatosa, the Freshwater School south of downtown, or the School of Public Health, and our School of Continuing Education downtown. UWM is omnipresent across southeast Wisconsin. So we hope that while your student is building connections with the faculty, staff, and other students at UWM, you'll join us as part of the Panther Family Association to get connected to other families and staff at UWM. The Panther Family Association is a dues-free organization curated just for our Panther families. We have a wealth of information available and resources to help you support your student during their time at UWM. I'll go over a few of those resources with you all here today. One great way that we keep you in touch with what is happening at UWM is through our e-newsletter. Panther Family News is for parents and families of students at UWM and includes UWM news, features stories, a first year focus section to really dial in on the questions a lot of you have as you navigate your students' first year. At UWM, we also spotlight key offices and resources like the Career Planning and Resource Center or the Student Success Center. And we will continue to include information about important dates and deadlines so you can help your students stay on track throughout the academic year. In each edition of Panther Family News, you'll find timely information to ensure you are in the loop with strategies on supporting your student as they navigate their time at UWM. In the fall, we tend to focus on getting students acclimated to their newfound independence and address homesickness, which we know is common among freshmen. In the winter and spring, we start reviewing information on making living arrangement plans for your student related to living either in university housing or off campus. And we also will cover topics related to moving out and graduations towards the end of spring semester. And lastly, we sprinkle in topics on academics, career planning, study abroad, getting involved on campus, and more throughout each monthly newsletter. One of our most comprehensive resources for our parents and families is our Panther Family website. Here you'll find a family guide, information on family weekend and registration for other special events, Panther Family hotel deals, a fun e-card feature, and more information on how to get involved with the Panther Family Association. The Family Guide on the Panther Family website is a great place to start your learning as it has just about every category that you can think of related to your student in school at UWM, whether it's financial aid or advising, campus technology, or other areas you'd like to explore. And I would encourage each of you to bookmark the Family Guide in your browser and add it to your to-do list this summer so you can review it at your earliest convenience. It's really a great place to start your learning about UWM. And we also hope you'll connect with us on social media. Follow the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee Panther Family Association Facebook page for updates and the latest information regarding UWM, as well as join our UWM Panther Families Facebook group, which allows you to connect with other families and parents like yourself, including parents of upperclassmen and other parents of new freshmen and transfer students. So when in doubt, you are always welcome to ask your questions to the Panther Family group, and it's really great to see families helping each other out with their experiences and advice. And we hope you'll join us for special events, including Family Weekend this fall, which saved the date for October 9th. We're hoping to get our registration live mid-August, so stay tuned for more details on that. Every year, we also host the Panther Pearl 5K that raises money for student scholarships. This also happens on that family weekend, so October 9th. Sports discounts are available, as well as art museums, other museums like the Milwaukee Public Museum, and other special events around the city. We also connect with Visit Milwaukee to really help you feel welcome when you come to the city with hotel connections and other great information and opportunities. We want you to feel like Milwaukee is your home, just like it's going to be your students' home for the next few years. So even if you're not from this area, we encourage you to really get out and explore. And if you are from the Milwaukee area, you might even find some surprises on how many great things are going on around the city as we do our best to keep you engaged. And now that you have a student coming to UWM, very exciting, it's time to show your Panther pride. So you can do this on campus at the Panther Shop or online by buying merchandise at shopuwm.com, plus a number of other really great online spots like Amazon, Fanatics, and of course, other retail locations across Milwaukee and beyond. And it's important to note that all of our royalties for merchandise sold goes directly to student scholarships, which is a great way to both look and act the part as a part of the Panther family. So you can also show your Panther pride in a number of other ways. We have yard sign graphics online that you can share with your local printer in your hometown to display in your yard to recognize your future Panther. We have Facebook frames, Instagram covers, and so many other ways in this digital and virtual world that you can show your Panther pride while you're going through your everyday life. And of course, another very important part of our Panther Family Association are all the family members, some 11,000 strong, that are already a part of our group and have students currently enrolled at UWM. So some of those families, including Natalie and Sherry today, are going to participate in a series of coffee talks over the course of the academic year for a chance to allow you to connect with current Panther families, maybe just have your questions answered or chat a little bit more and get some more information about their experience. Our most recent coffee talk also focused on career planning in the Resource Center, which allowed folks to get some more information on supporting their students through the internship process with the folks over at Career Planning and Resource Center. We will have some pertinent information at different times throughout the year as well. And dates and times for this fall will be available on our website too. So we hope that you will join us. And as you heard earlier, we want you to help you find your student success at UWM. So now I'm going to share a few things we've learned over the years that will help your student have a good and successful time at UWM. We know that a focus area for parents and their students is how their student is going to find a job, both while they're at UWM and after graduation. And so the Career Planning and Resource Center is an excellent place to ask these questions. They can assist your student in choosing a major. They can help with their resume, and the Career Planning and Resource Center hosts career fairs and can connect students to internships. They have a variety of practice interview resources, and their connections to local companies is really valuable. I would also just add in here that there are a wide variety of campus jobs that are hiring for this fall. And so we strongly encourage you to encourage your student to start applying now so that they can step on campus this fall with a job. And it's really great experience for students to work on campus. A second area of parent focus is networking, and we know that you want your student to get connected while they're here at UWM, and we have so many ways they can do that. So each year, students log thousands of community service hours through volunteer events, partnering with local organizations, and through service learning courses. Our students can also connect to our over 75% of alumni who stay in the state of Wisconsin, many of which are right here in Milwaukee, looking to provide your student an internship to bolster their resume and set them apart in the job market. We also have over 300 student organizations. Some are professional, some are just for fun, but it's a great time for your student to make some friends and get connected. And students can also participate in undergraduate research on tons of different topics, and students can study abroad all around the world. A final concern for many parents and family members is their students' health and safety. And so I strongly encourage you to attend the Keeping Your Panther Healthy and Safe orientation session this summer, which will provide a lot of great information and resources available to your student to keep them healthy and safe while they're here at UWM. This is the perfect session to ask any questions you have related to how the university is handling COVID-19 rules and regulations, get in touch with our campus health officers, and get advice from our campus police on safety. More from Mike in this in a moment. And additionally, all updates from campus will be delivered to our families via Panther Family News and will be posted on the Fall Welcome website. So looking ahead to the fall, we know that both you and your student are going to have questions as we return to our usual in-person operations at UWM. While many classes will be available in person, just as UWM has offered for over 20 years, there will still be online and hybrid options available to students. On the Fall Welcome website, which is uwm.edu/welcome, you'll find information updated throughout the summer on everything from classroom experience to housing and dining and more. I encourage everyone to review the information available here as you work your way through summer. And next, I'm going to turn it over to Mike to offer an overview of orientation and what to expect tomorrow. So Mike, take it away.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, Alyssa. I appreciate the introduction and everything you've covered so far. My name is Mike Dixon. I'm the manager in new student programs. I've been at UWM for just a little over 3 years now. And one of the things that I look forward to the most every year is working with families during the family orientation program throughout the summer, and then when we run our spring programs. Alyssa, if you want to go to the next slide, what I'm going to start with here is talking through what your students' orientation experience looks like this summer. I'm guessing that a number of folks in the audience today have a student who's already completed orientation, and a number of folks probably have a student that's completing orientation next week or sometime later in July. But I wanted to make sure that we started here just so that we all kind of have a common understanding of what your student has experienced before we talk about the family program tomorrow. So we're going to talk about new freshmen, and then we'll talk about new transfers. So for new freshmen, everything you see here is required. So students sign up for orientation, they pick a date for their orientation, and then 1 week before that date, we give them access through their UWM email to a required orientation course that covers a wide variety of topics. It's really a helpful primer to some of the conversations that they have during their virtual program. It's also a resource that your student will continue to have access to throughout their first semester on campus. We got really positive feedback last year from students that participated in virtual orientation, that continuing to have access to that course over their first semester was really helpful, because they, I remember hearing about that Student Success Center, about tutoring, but I just don't remember all the info. So it was really easy to go navigate back through the course to have access to that information. So the first component, like I said, is that course. The second component is their actual virtual orientation program that happens over the course of one day. So in the morning, they've got a 2-hour session with their orientation leader and a number of other students in their same school college. Some community building, hear from their orientation leader what it's like to be a student on campus, all that stuff. Break for lunch, and then in the afternoon we do a series of sessions. There's a health and safety session. We do a breakout session for students that are living on campus or off campus, and then we end the day with a meeting that your student will have with representatives from their school college. That's where they'll learn about what courses to register for, how to register for courses, some other information about their academics during their first year. That all happens, like I said, during the virtual orientation program. And then after their virtual orientation program, every student will have a one-on-one advising appointment with their academic advisor. A number of our school and colleges do it a little bit different. So some of those folks will schedule those one-on-one appointments during that meeting on the virtual program day. Other folks reach out via email to students between 1 and 5 days before their orientation. So the takeaway here is make sure you're reminding your student to check their UWM email very regularly, to make sure that if they get a message from their advisor to sign up for a one-on-one advising appointment, they get that and sign up for that appointment as quick as possible. Now, if they miss that email, or if you're on vacation leading right up to the orientation date, you don't need to worry about it too much. That's why we have that meeting at the end of the virtual program. So as students are logging into that meeting, advisors are checking off their list. If somebody shows up that they haven't scheduled with yet, they send them a direct message, get them on the calendar right there. So no stress. Every student will get that individual advising appointment at some point shortly after their orientation experience. So that's the freshman experience. Now, new transfers have a little bit more choice, fewer requirements. We know transfers come in with more experience. They're more able to navigate the college landscape because they have navigated it at a previous institution. The one requirement we have for transfer students is to complete that orientation course. So as soon as they register for orientation, they'll have access to that orientation course. Complete that course, we release a hold on their account, and they can enroll in classes. That can all happen on the same day if somebody's really on top of things. We do encourage students to join us for a virtual program that's very similar to the freshman program. Small group experience in the morning, break for lunch, educational sessions in the afternoon. We also really, really, really encourage our transfer students to meet one-on-one with their academic advisor. It is optional. But we mostly make that optional because transfer students are more likely to have had conversations with someone at the institution, whether it's somebody in admissions or an academic advisor in the college that they're going to be entering, about what classes they have taken in the past that are transferring in, and what classes they'll need to take in their first couple semesters when they join us at UWM. So if you're a family member of a transfer student, help us parrot that message, meet with an academic advisor, just make sure you're registered for all the right classes. We want to make sure students are taking as few classes as they need to meet the requirements to graduate on time. So that's the overview of a student's experience. If you've got any questions about that, feel free to post those in the chat. I'm going to walk through what your experience looks like tomorrow on the next couple slides, and then I'll circle back and answer any questions that show up in the chat when I'm finished. Awesome. Thanks, Alyssa. So this is what the schedule looks like tomorrow. We've got a number of sessions in the morning. We're going to start off with a session from our health department, our police department, Dean of Students Office, talking about health and safety on campus. So if you have any questions, like Alyssa mentioned, about the institution's COVID response or rules, guidelines, requirements, things like that, great questions to bring to that session. Same thing if you have questions about what our university police department does on campus or in the surrounding neighborhoods to keep students safe. They'll run through about a half hour of content, leave 15 minutes for questions and answers with the group. The next session is academic success at UWM. So you'll hear from an academic advisor and a representative from our Student Success Center, and they'll talk a lot about tutoring, the Writing Center, our multicultural student success coordinators, all these different resources that we have across campus to help your students be successful. So again, if you have questions about, in high school, my student really struggled writing lab reports, and there was somebody that they worked with to do drafts of all this and make sure they met requirements, got good grades and stuff. Those are the kinds of questions that you can bring to that session. We'll get you connected with the right resources. Then at 11, we've got breakout sessions. If your student's going to be living on campus in university housing, that's Sandburg, Cambridge, Riverview, any of those places, you'll go to the university housing session, hear about meal plans, move in, all those kinds of things. Bring questions. It'll be highly interactive. The folks that host that session are fantastic. So come ready for a really great conversation there. If your student isn't going to be living on campus, maybe they're living at home, maybe they're living in an apartment near campus, etc. We host a session for you too, the commuter student success session. Our orientation leaders host that session. We have a couple OLs that have experience as commuter students, and they can provide some of their insights into how to get to campus, managing your commute. If you can't go back and forth to your residence hall room, how do you kill time on campus? What are the good study spots? Where can you go eat? All those sorts of things. We can answer those questions in that session. And then we finish the day at noon with a session called Preparing for Your Student's College Transition. That's where we talk about some of the finer points. So we take all of the information, all of the resources that you learned about throughout the morning sessions, and then we talk about, okay, now what? What do we do with all that? Some of the themes that we address in that session, we're going to cover in the Q&A with Natalie and Sherry at the end here. So if at the end of that conversation, you're left with some things that you're still wondering about, preparing for your student's college transition is a great session to bring some of those questions to. Again, we'll have a number of our orientation leaders on hand for that session. They'll provide their personal experience and some of the insights that they've gleaned from how the transition to college has changed the student-family relationship in really awesome ways, and in some ways, lessons learned. So we'll get them to share all that. So that's the overview of tomorrow. So I'm going to have Alyssa go to the next slide here, and I'm going to share a little bit about how you can make the most out of this experience. Obviously, you're off to a really great start by joining us this evening to get some of the quick taste of what the program is going to look like, and some really great insights later from Natalie and Sherry, and of course some great info up top from Melissa here. But tomorrow we really encourage you to take notes and ask questions. Come with anything that you're curious about. The sessions are designed to be pretty interactive, and we're really hoping that you join with some of those questions so we can address those on the spot. If you're not able to join us tomorrow, no worries. We're going to record every session. We're recording this session right now, and Alyssa's going to make sure that we email those out to our whole Panther Families listserv next Monday or Tuesday so that you have access to the recordings. Helpful if you even do make it to look back and make sure that you've got all the info that you're looking for. And then if you come up with any other questions, we post contact information at the end of all of our presentations. You can always reach out. Otherwise, you can put on your calendar to join us for the next set of the same sessions with the most updated informations on August 13th. And like Alyssa said, we're going to post these videos online. They'll be available for 1 week. Like I mentioned, information changes so quickly these days. We want to make sure that we're communicating the most up-to-date and relevant information. So we'll leave the recordings up for about a week and then take them down 1 week after they're sent. Awesome. So that's most of what I have to share today. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hand it over to Catherine Amato. She's going to share a little bit, and then she'll host a little bit of a Q&A with Sherry and with Natalie. But I'm going to look back through the chat here, see if there are any questions that I can answer. Otherwise, I'm going to hand it over to Catherine. Take it away.
Great. Mike, I believe there was one question in the chat, but it looks like it got answered by Alyssa. But do you want to take a minute just to review the chat before I go? Or otherwise, I'll just I'll plow ahead.
You just go for it. I think Alyssa got got the answer just perfect.
Awesome. I'll plow ahead then. Thanks, Mike, for the handoff. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Catherine Amato, a member of the External Relations team here at UWM. The next portion of our presentation will be a moderated panel intended to share ideas and tips on how to support your student as they transition to college life at UWM. We've got two wonderful guests with us this afternoon to take us on this journey. Joining us is Natalie, a student here at UWM. Natalie is a senior majoring in journalism, advertising, and media studies, sometimes called JAMS. Natalie is also a member of the UWM swim team, so she's really involved here at UWM. Also joining us is Natalie's mom, Sherry. Sherry lives in Naperville, Illinois. I'm going to be asking some questions of Natalie and Sherry about topics that are of interest to families. General topics that we're hoping to discuss, depending on how much time we have, would be communication, overcoming challenges, navigating the challenging relationship between college students and family members, and promoting and encouraging trust and independence. The conversation is meant to be relaxed and unstructured. If you have any questions for Natalie or Sherry about the topics I just described, please go ahead and feel free to put them in the chat. We'll do our best to respond during the program, or we'll respond to you after the program concludes. So without further ado, I've got Natalie and Sherry here. So thank you both for your willingness to share your time this afternoon to share some of the insights you both have learned navigating this very important time in young college students' lives. So thank you. I guess to start out, one big change and I think a piece of a successful college experience is learning how to navigate communication between family members and college students. And so Natalie, thinking a little bit about communicating with family members during your first year of college, what advice would you have for new students and families about communicating during that very important first year?
I think it's helpful just to find what works for you and your family. I know something that really worked for me and my mom is we texted a lot, called a lot. Sometimes it can get a little tricky to find time because your schedules are so different and that might be hard to adjust. But just staying in touch in the best way for you, which is obviously cell phones make it really helpful. I would probably call my mom. It varies, sometimes once a day and then sometimes once every 2 weeks, but it just depends on your relationship and what you need, and just whatever works for you.
Sherry, thinking about communication with a college student, how do you as a parent find that right amount of communication? And did you feel like the right amount for you was the right amount for Natalie, and how did you find that sweet spot?
I think it took us a while to find our balance, but one thing that helped was kind of saying, when the next time we talked or planned on talking was oh, I might not hear from you for a couple of days because you're super busy with swim or school, but we'll talk to you Sunday. I think it was really important to kind of let her take the lead and not let my anxiety as a new parent of a college freshman I want to know what's going on. I want to know this. I want to know that. I just had to trust that she was good and that she would come back and contact us, when she needed us. But we did kind of set not parameters, but we'll talk to you Sunday or, talk to you in a couple of days. And it wasn't that I never sent her a text, just said, how are you, but didn't always expect immediate response, and just kind of let her take the lead as she kind of figured out, what was going on and how to navigate that new independence.
Great, thanks, Sherry. Sherry, kind of following up there on the whole fostering independence and communication. I know a lot of our new families out there right now, their students are starting to think about what courses they're going to be taking in the fall, making course selections, thinking about majors. How involved were you in that process for Natalie early on? And then did it change over time? Do you have any advice for parents out there on how to navigate that changing set of circumstances?
Again, it's going to depend on your student, but with Natalie, I didn't have that much input. She would tell me what she was taking, and we kind of talked about like general themes, but down to specifics, I kind of trusted that to her and her advisor. At one point, she was, she dropped a Spanish class, and we just kind of talked that over, what that meant, and I had to trust that that was the right thing for her at the time. And then when she changed majors once and, picked up a minor of Spanish later, she kept me generally informed, but I didn't get involved in the nitty gritty of that at all. We just kind of took general themes and kind of talked in broad strokes, not super specific.
Great. Natalie, so, thinking about, your mom described how, she was supporting you, through decisions about your academics and things. What other advice would you have for family members? What are some things they can do to support their students that are helpful?
I guess I kept my mom as informed as possible so she knew what was going on generally. Like big decisions I made, like changing my major, I kept my mom informed on, but I think it'd be helpful for parents. Like my mom had a lot of trust in me and the decisions I was making, and she had a lot of trust in the advisors at our school, that everything was going to work out. And they have plans, advisors have plans for each major, that'll plan out the classes that you need to take, and a lot of them overlap. So first year students, like a lot of the GERs will overlap for majors. So it's really well structured and organized, but a lot of trust in my mom, I'm sure, helped, because it was definitely a big transition from high school to college, because I wasn't home every day for my mom to know what classes I was taking, what homework I had, and what my plan was for the next couple of years.
I will say at one point she signed up for like 18 credits during swim season, and I was like, is that a good idea? She's like, no, it'll be fine. I'm fine. It's all good. And then a couple weeks later, you're like, I got to drop a class. It's too much. So it was kind of fun to like let her figure that out herself,
It's also totally normal to drop classes and adjust your schedule. You can pick classes up if something's not working for you in the middle of the year, not in the middle of the year, probably like the first 2 weeks of the year. It's normal to pop in a class or drop a class, and just if something's not working for you, just know that the schedule is not set when you make a decision in the summer. So now you're picking classes, it's not completely set. So there's a little bit of flexibility.
Great, thanks. Shifting gears just a little bit, I know one thing that really is on new families' minds the summer before they start college is the whole move-in process. Particularly, a lot of our families out there, their students are probably moving into the residence halls. Natalie, can you share with us, with the families out there, some tips on how to make the move-in to the residence hall go smoothly?
So something that I found helpful that kind of seems obvious is to just keep everything organized as you're moving, so you don't have to I was so exhausted from moving. I didn't want to put everything away and then everything sits in your dorm for however long, like weeks it could be. But keeping everything organized and easy, like clothes we put in IKEA bags was really helpful, like already on the hangers, so I could just pop them out of the IKEA bags, put them in my closet, and we were done with that. Toiletries kept together. We bought most of our food. I mean, I guess you don't need that much food in the dorm because there's the cafeteria. We bought most of the food while we were moved in and stuff, so that was helpful for us.
Great. Sherry, what's your advice about move-in day, preparing for moving? Are there any must-pack items for your students, like a first aid kit or things like that? How did you navigate all of that summer before Natalie's first year?
I think it's natural as a mom, like you want everything perfect and you want them to have the perfect room and everything set up, and you kind of go in with expectations. I guess my advice would be let those expectations go, because it's their space. Certainly we can have input into what we think is practical and what's doable, but I had pictures of setting up her room and leaving it in great condition, and she was like, will you go? You know what I mean? I mean, she I'll take care of this later. I mean, we heard that both years, I wanted to see your pictures put up and I wanted, to make sure everything was good. But once we got those major things done, like she just, I mean, I think emotionally exhausted and, tired of doing things. And there's only, those rooms are small and there's only, so much time you can spend in them with, the other families that are unpacking. So it was hard to leave it like kind of in the state of disarray because that's not the type of person I am. But, again, I'm like, okay, we'll go, but send me pictures. And, she did. So that was great. And then, we came up in a couple weeks and saw it. And if we're close, like we're 2 hours away, always nice to run up there, and Panther family weekend and, pick up things that they need. And you're going to forget something. You're not going to have everything, but Amazon's a great resource. Like there's almost anything, we all know that we can't get on Amazon. So that came in handy. And then just like little things, like we gave her a toolkit, which came in handy, both for her and other people that needed things, just small little hammer, screwdriver, all those things. And definitely a first aid kit with like, made sure she had her prescription set and, asthma inhaler and, Tylenol and things that you have in your house and cold medicines that, if you need them at, 3 a.m., they're in your medicine cabinet, but these students are starting over from scratch. So we tried to think through that. But really just my advice is lower your expectations in terms of what that day is going to be and try and keep it as stress-free as possible because your student's going to have their own agenda and they should.
Great. Natalie, the first year at college usually presents challenges for students. For example, disagreements with roommates, homesickness, or figuring out the best way to study or succeed in college classes. What advice do you have for new students as they encounter these inevitable challenges? And what advice do you have for family members when students might be telling them about some of these challenges?
Yeah, something I found really helpful was starting a routine because so much changes in your first few weeks of college. You're living in a completely new place, your stuff is all in different places. You're probably waking up at different times, or your roommate's waking you up, you're adjusting to living with someone else. So setting a routine is really helpful. And even the first couple of days, you don't start classes right away. So just maybe planning to start a routine. So when your classes start, maybe waking up at the same day if you want to like exercise, getting exercise in for yourself. Personally, it was really easy for me because I had like swim practice every day to structure my life around. So I would schedule all my classes in the morning, of practice in the afternoon, and then do homework and eat dinner and relax whatever the rest of the day at night. And that was really helpful for me because I knew exactly what I would be doing the next day. And even if you're not someone that likes routine, you still have like the weekends to have all that freedom to do whatever you want. And so setting a solid routine is something that I found extremely, extremely helpful.
Great. And Sherry, what challenges did you face as a parent of a college student, and how did you manage those challenges?
I think, certainly the unknown was a challenge, like not knowing her friends and not knowing, what's going on or having no frame of context to put some of the things she was telling me in. And really just having trust in her and thinking that she was going to communicate when she needed to and ask for help when she needed to was pretty crucial. I mean, they're 18 years old, so they can handle a lot on their own, but I think, kind of circling back to, there are things that you are going to need help with. If you have a roommate with a mental health concern, if you have a friend, that is really struggling, these aren't things for you to take on your own. So just kind of talking through some of those situations, and kind of giving general guidance and making sure that she as a student knew who the appropriate resources were. Like that's a great thing to talk to your RA about, or if you can't get a hold of your RA, I think you should probably escalate that. So really just kind of gaining the trust in them and just giving them the tools and knowing it was hard because you can't fix everything, right? Or something is going wrong. It's really hard to have your student, because there will be times when they'll be upset and they'll call you or crying, or maybe not crying, or maybe just not saying much. You don't quite know how to handle it. And you want to make it better. So finding those little things that we could do, like, the first time she was sick, ordering her food, to get, like Grubhub to the dorms, just finding those little ways to do nice things and really feel connected while not actually physically being there. And it took, reading and learning and talking to other parents about how they had been successful to stay connected or kind of navigate those trickier situations to get some new ideas to figure out what I could and couldn't do.
So Natalie, kind of building on this whole idea of, challenges naturally will come up in a first year, but we know that students who succeed in college often build connections or get involved on campus early. What advice do you have for students and family members on how to make the connection to UWM early and how to build those connections so that they can have a successful college experience?
So something that's really great about the dorms, and I think this is Sandburg and Cambridge, whatever dorm your student's living in, is that there's it makes it so that there's other people living with you in a suite, and you all probably know that by now just because your student's already admitted, but it makes it so that you already have people that are next door to you that you share a bathroom with, and whether that's like a positive thing or negative thing, there's other people to talk to, and most times it works out that these people invite you to sporting events to go. It's just so easy to build off of build friendships off of the things that are going around campus, because you'll either meet people that are on campus at the events you attend. It's just so easy to if you just go to events, put yourself out there. It's so easy to meet people, because every student that's an incoming freshman is in the same exact situation. They want to meet people too. They're not going to be closed off because they're trying to do the exact same thing as you are. They're trying to meet people, go to events, have fun, get the whole college experience. And so just putting yourself out there and meeting people that live with you is really a good gateway to getting your solid group of friends. And even if you don't, chances are that you're not going to get along, or not necessarily not get along with people you meet the first time, but they might introduce you to other people, and it's just a really good way to build connections.
Sherry, can you describe a favorite memory you have or things that you did with Natalie when you came to visit?
Yeah, we're fortunate to be, relatively close, so we got to come up pretty frequently. But I think one of my favorite memories was just coming up and walking along the lake. We just took some pictures and just kind of chilled out. So it can be little things, or just, going out to dinner, finding out where, what's a good place you like, because she kind of showed us, little downtown Milwaukee, that we never would have seen some of those places if she hadn't recommended. And, I will say, as a athletic mom, I think seeing her swim for the first time was probably one of our favorite memories. But just in the broader sense, just kind of anytime we connected and got that sense of what she liked about the campus and how comfortable she was, and just seeing it kind of through her eyes, those little memories kind of stick out in my head.
Thanks, Sherry. Natalie, do you have any ideas or thoughts on fun things families can do when they come to campus?
There's so much you can do. Something that's kind of popping out of my head right now is going to the Third Ward. There's this place called Milwaukee Public Market. My parents and I went to a lot, and it sounds like a store, but it's more of a bunch of vendors, and it's just really interesting. There's a bunch of cool places you can go in the Third Ward where that is. Again, walking by the lake, there's just so much in Milwaukee you can do. I don't recommend going to the art museum. That's more something that'll take a whole day, but small little things that you can just do. Grabbing lunch, we've done a lot. My parents will just come up and grab lunch or dinner or something like that. So just small things.
Natalie, what are some good things to send in a care package to a college student?
My mom sent a lot of like cookies, like sweets, things I would like from home, like air fresheners, things that I didn't feel like I needed to spend money on, like razors, things that I just didn't want to go to the store and get because I didn't have a car my freshman year or sophomore year. So it was really convenient for my mom to send me things that are just like nice to have, like tissues, toilet paper, little snacks and notes and things and stuff to remind you of home.
Sherry, one thing that college students, one thing they learn to manage is their finances and how to manage that part of their life. So do you have any advice for parents about, do you recommend, did you do more sort of jointly monitoring finances with Natalie, or did you give her more autonomy there and let her sort of run with that? Any advice on whether students should set up bank accounts near campus? Anything like that?
I think you have to find out what's right for your family. So we kind of said we're giving you X amount of money per month, and anything other than that, it is on you. Kind of laid out what we were going to pay for, and what was on her. Being a student athlete, it's hard for her to work during season. So, we kind of maybe shifted that during, swim season was a little different than summers, but kind of said, this is our expectation that you work during the summer. And, this is our family financial contribution. For us, it's nice because I can deposit from here into her bank account, or we used Venmo a lot, or Zelle. That was really super convenient. A way to send her money. And for those little things, I would send her things out of my Amazon account, or give her permission to order off my Amazon account if there's something she needed. So that's what worked for us. And we were flexible, because certainly I think you have to prepare for the unexpected, in terms of, what might happen or what they might need. Or, her first semester, she had community service that was a little bit further away than we were comfortable with her taking the bus, just with swim practice and the times it was. So, we agreed to pay for an Uber for that. That was something that but we didn't budget that, at the beginning of the year. It just kind of came up. So kind of thinking on the fly and having good communication. And then when her monthly spending money was gone, she never asked us for anything else, so I didn't nickel and dime or line item her. Just kind of, her money was kind of her money, and just trusted that she was going to manage it well, and that she knew there wasn't an unending bank account to come back to here.
So as we are wrapping up today, so sort of thinking, Natalie, back to you. You're obviously finishing up or close to finishing up at UWM. Thinking back, when you just started, what are some things now that you wish you would have known back then that you would be able to share with the families out there?
Something I recommend is, like I said earlier, there is flexibility in picking your classes, and it's not a big deal if you don't know what you want to major in, because it can be really scary to know what you want to major in, when you're 18, you're sticking with that for a degree. But I recommend just being really secure in having a plan for your classes, because I went back and forth a bunch of times, and it's not something I necessarily am happy about, because I feel like I could have wasted a lot less time, or been in a lot less classes that I didn't necessarily need. So just being very conscious about the classes you're taking, and making sure it's the right path that you want to be on.
And Sherry, I'll ask you, you've already shared, lots of wisdom with us this afternoon, but anything we haven't covered, or anything thinking, you wish someone would have said to you back at the beginning of this journey that might have helped?
It's like when your kids are little, I would just keep in mind that it goes so fast. You blink and she's a senior, and it seems like just, a couple weeks ago. We were getting ready to move her in the first time. So, enjoy those opportunities to come up and realize that college is as brief as high school. High school went by in a flash, and your child's college years are going to go by in a flash too. And just really enjoy it and step back and enjoy the person that your student's becoming, because with both of my kids, it's been really a blessing to watch them become adults, and neither are who I could have pictured. I had no idea, this is the path that either of my kids would be on. So just enjoy it and step back and have trust in the university and ask questions. I wish I had found the Panther family website earlier. I think there's a lot of good information on there. Families are very willing to help. So if you have a question that you want an immediate answer to, someone probably is going to chime in. So ask those questions from anything from, does anyone know a good urgent care to campus, to, my kid's car needs a mechanic, you know what I mean, to, school things. So take advantage of those resources and trust your kids.
Great. Well, Sherry, Natalie, thank you again for joining us. It's been really great talking with you both about all of these topics. So thank you. And I know I have not had an opportunity to follow the chat too closely, but Alyssa and Mike, if there's anything we can answer, let us know. Otherwise, I will hand it back to both of you.
All right. So to follow up on some of these questions in the chat, just so everybody, in case you can't see it, knows. So the traditional towers, so north, west, and south in Sandburg, do not have air conditioning. I lived in both north and south as a student, and when I was an RA my sophomore year, and it's totally manageable. There's lots of air conditioned places on campus. A good fan that can clip to your bed is a great option. But also Cambridge, I believe, does have AC in the rooms because that's one of the newer buildings. And the East Tower in Sandburg does have AC because that tower also has kitchens. It's a little more of a upperclassmen or independent living. But these are all really good questions to ask again during the housing session. I'm sure they'll elaborate more on what you should bring and what not to bring. Toilet paper is again one of those things your student should provide their own. But again, all really great detailed questions to ask in the housing session tomorrow, which leads me to my next point of near next steps, which is to attend the Friday session. So really strongly cannot encourage this enough to attend, or at least watch the recordings after the fact. My goal is to usually get these sent out by Tuesday the following week. So stay tuned for those. If for some reason you don't see them come through the Panther Families email through Panther Family News, please do reach out via the Panther-Families email that you see on the screen here, and I will make sure to get those to you as soon as I can. We also have these coffee talks coming up this fall. We're in the process of planning those, so definitely check into those. We'll have that schedule available soon on the family website. Panther Family News comes out mid-month each month, so be on the lookout for the July edition of that. Watch those orientation recordings. Again, we really are strongly encouraging you all. But we also have that Facebook group, so definitely join that. Lots of activity and questions going on there. Buy your merchandise from shopudm.com. I love seeing the families that are all decked out in their UWM mom and dad, grandparent gear at move-in. That's always real fun. And then the family guide, of course, again, is a really great resource for all your questions. If you don't find the answer there, please reach out via email. So thank you all again for joining us today. We hope you have a great rest of your week and a great rest of your summer. And we will see you all in the fall. So have a great one. Bye now.